Hi, I'm Effie. This is What Effie Reads, and today I'm going to be doing the Finally Fall book tag. I'm not 100% sure who started this tag, but if I find out, I will tag them in the description. I'll also pop links to a few other creators that I've seen doing this tag, because I am seeing quite a few around at the moment, but I just thought it'd be nice to do kind of a nice little chill tag video. It's been a minute and this one looked fun. The first question, although these are more phrased as statements, is: in fall the air is clear and crisp. What's a book with a vivid setting? I think this is a really hard one, especially because I don't see images when I read, so the idea of a vivid setting is somewhat obscure to me. Also, I haven't planned for this video at all, so apologies if it's a wee bit messy. I'm going to have to go with a Schwab. I would either say the Monsters of Verity duology, because I think it's a very vivid look at the way that a city has been changed by these monsters being created, or it's got to be the Shades of London, either the original trilogy or sorry, they're called Shades of Magic. Either the original trilogy or the Steel Prince trilogy or Threads of Power. I think the worlds that Schwab has created are absolutely amazing and incredibly vivid, and even though mentally I have no idea what they look like, I could probably, if I saw a picture, I'd be like, yes, that's exactly what I think these worlds look like, because they're so well described and so completely realised. They're just gorgeous. The next statement question is, sorry, I've got my laptop right here, so if my eyes are off center, you know why. Nature is beautiful but also dying. A book that is beautifully written but also deals with a heavy topic like loss or grief. The one that immediately springs to mind is a book that I finished quite recently, and that is Letters to the Lost. And that deals with grief, and deals with grief in a very in your face, you are sitting in the grief for a lot of the book. So I haven't been pulling up books because I'm sat on the floor and I'm cozy, and cozy's kind of the vibe of this time. But I do have a book right in front of me that could be an alternative choice for this, and that is Vampire Menstrual Syndrome, the first cycle by S.C. Hunter. It is comedy horror, but it's also dealing with feminism, and there's also transphobia. Less so in this book, but I feel like it is going to be a theme going forward, because one of the things that we've got in this book is that vampires aren't even allowed to drink the blood of women, let alone turn them into vampires. So obviously you've got a lot of sexism around that, and the transphobia with, well, do they recognise and what defines a woman, and gender confusing. So something a little bit different. It's dealing with heavy stuff, but it's also absolutely hilarious, and I loved it. And look at how cool that is. It's the first book in the series because it's got one blood drop. I love it so much. Also, just a little side note, S.C. Hunter is a fantastic human. I've only had a couple of interactions with them, but they are sweet and understanding, very approachable, and they've also been posting really great resources for people that want to learn more about Palestine and the settler colony of Israel. Specifically, at the time of filming, I'm reading a book called The Right to Maim by, I think it's Jasbir K. Puar. I believe there will be an image on screen, and it's talking, well, it talks about a breadth of subjects, but one of the things that it's talking about is the idea that people may be shooting to maim rather than shooting to kill because it can obscure data. That was a side quest. The next statement question is, all is back to school season, a non-fiction book that taught you something new. Well, I guess I could say The Right to Maim. I haven't finished it yet, but so far it's incredible. But I will say the language is not the most accessible, and it is written in very kind of academic and very like specific wording. For something that is a bit more accessible, I would probably recommend Wordslut by Amanda Montell. It delves into all kinds of language, and it's a very geeky, people that love words kind of book. But one of the things that really stood out to me was the idea that sexism has impacted language, and the way that people that are socialized as female speak naturally has been frowned upon and seen as lesser, when in fact, yeah, I don't know, it was a long time ago that I read it, but it was very insightful in the way that it broke down the way that people might criticize other forms of speech patterns, and the way that it's rooted in things like sexism, homophobia, and it was so insightful and I loved it. Also, I believe, like, not really a surprise considering it's a book for language geeks, but I believe that it uses inclusive language where appropriate, and that always just makes my little heart happy. The next statement question is, in order to keep warm, it's good to spend time with people we love. A fictional family or friend group you'd like to be part of. I mean, okay, so ignoring the wider society and context of what's going on in Raybearer and Redemptor by Jordan Ifueko, I would love to be part of the 12, I think they're called, because they are so cute. Like, they all like sleep in a puddle, and they're just everyone's so close to one another, and they are so accepting of everything about each other. It is just the sweetest group of people, and I would love to be part of it. Like, they're so lovely. Also, they all have, I guess, to put it in a very basic way, they all have magic, which, you know, who doesn't want to have magic and a fantastic found family? The next question statement is, the colourful leaves are piling up on the ground, a pile of fall-coloured spines. Right, I'm just going to cheat for this one and just move so you can see my Terry Pratchett collection. Like, they feel very like autumnal colours, especially like around this section. So we're just going to say all of these are my pile of fall coloured spines. The next question statement, fall is the perfect time for storytelling by the fireside. A book where somebody is telling a story. Ooh, I mean, this is a weird one because it's hard for me to think of any that I would actually recommend. I mean, I really enjoyed The Last Tale of the Flower Bride, but it was one of those that it wasn't until I got to the end of the book that I realised how much I'd enjoyed it. So that one, possibly, although I'm not sure if it technically counts as someone telling a story. I mean, probably the best example, and I actually didn't enjoy it because it was very much first book in a series, but the best example I can think of is The Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi. I loved the person that was telling the story. But yeah, off the top of my head, I can't really think of many. I'm sure there is. I'm sure some of my favourite books I'm completely forgetting about. But yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one for me. I don't think I read. Oh! The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I forgot that one of the tropes I absolutely love is the author is a character in the book. Yeah. So The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Yeah, let's go with that one. But The Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi if you want a 2023 release. The next question statement is The Nights Are Getting Darker, a dark, creepy read. Ooh, that's an interesting one. A dark, creepy read. See, the thing is, I read a decent amount of horror. I read a decent amount of books that have things like vampires in, but I'm not sure if I read much dark and creepy. I mean, it's not massively dark and creepy, but The Venue by TJ Payne, that's quite good. That was a lot of fun actually, because it's just like murderous. The Collector series by Hutchinson. There's 4 books in the series and they each follow a different murderer and the FBI trying to hunt them down, and like the murderers are quite twisted. So maybe that one. I'm trying to think what else, because I really don't read much that I would say could be classified as a dark, creepy read. My brain's just blanking right now. I'm sure there's some amazing books out there that I'm forgetting. I'll put some in the comments if I think of some between finishing recording and uploading this video. Yeah, I feel bad, I just can't think of anything. The next statement question is The days are getting colder and shorter. A short, heartwarming read. So the obvious response to this one is the Monk and Robot series. So A Psalm for the Wild Bill and A Prayer for the Crown Shy. Like, they're both short and really sweet. I only have the first book in the series, but I do want the second book because I love them both equally. Honestly, right now I'm so annoyed at myself because I had an idea for like a less conventional one, but it's just completely gone out of my brain and I can't remember. But when I was trying to find what book had been in my brain, I realised that On the Savage Side would have been a great book to do for the question that asked about like a harder hitting topic. So I can't remember of what other short, cozy book I was gonna say. And like, it just feels so kind of basic and expected to talk about Monk and Robot. Oh, I remember now. I was going to talk about A Mirror Mended, which is the sequel to A Spindle Splintered, which are the Fractured Fables by Alex E. Harrow. And it's unconventional because it delves into the darker and less savoury aspects of the Snow White fairy tale and the way that different cultures have interpreted and told the story. But I also found it just really heartwarming to read, and it is short. Like, both A Spindle Splintered and A Mirror Mended are quite short. I don't own them physically, but I think they're probably like 200 pages maybe. So they are good cozy reads. And yeah, slightly less unconventional. If you're a bit of a dark sausage like me, you may prefer them over the truly like cozy and conventional Monk and Robot stories. Even though I do absolutely adore the Monk and Robot stories. The next statement question is fall returns every year, an old favourite you'd like to reread. I mean, I have a lot of books that I kind of want to reread. Like, I have a hankering to reread The Secret Life of Laszlo, Count Dracula. I wouldn't say it was an old favourite because, like, I don't know if I could classify it as a favourite, but it is a book that's stuck in my brain. I mean, the Darren Shan saga, I started a reread with an eye to being able to mention any critiques whenever I talk about it, because I haven't read it, I think, since I was a teenager, but I absolutely adored it as a teenager. So I wanted to be able to talk about it in full knowledge of the critiques that there might be of the series and how it may not have aged so well. But life got in the way and I didn't continue my reread. So I'd like to reread them. I'd like to continue putting those videos up. Hopefully, like, maybe that's something I can aim for in the new year. Again, not an old favourite because I only read it a few years ago, but I really want to reread A Little Life. I was lucky enough to get to see it in the cinema recently and it was such an experience, especially because I think I responded differently to the story knowing where it was headed, and I would love to reread it and see how my response to the book varies now that I know where it's headed. Also, after I read it for the first and only time I've read it, I deliberately went out and bought a physical copy because I knew it was a book that I wanted to annotate in the future. So I would really like to do that. So yeah, like, there's loads of books on my shelf that I'd like to reread, but they're probably the ones that are like top priority in my brain. Oh, actually, it might be right behind me. Let me see if I can find the other book. Oh, I can't move. My backside's numb. Been sitting on the floor for too long. Nope. They're not the books I was looking for. I'm basically just taking every book off my bottom shelf at the moment, which is not really what I intended to do. But let's see. See if I can find it. It's not those either. I didn't mean to take every book off my bottom shelf, and I will regret it because my backside's numb and I'm not going to be able to easily put the books back on the shelf. No, that's not the book I was looking for either. Just got a pile of books now piling up next to me. It won't even be on this shelf. After all of this, the book I'm looking for won't be on this shelf. This is the kind of chaos you come to my channel for. So if you enjoy it, I guess, like, subscribe. But oh my gosh, I can't find anything. Nope. None of those books are the book I was looking for. Is it still on the shelf? There's like 3 books left on this shelf. I don't think it's on the shelf because none of these are the book I was looking for. Is it this one? It is! Literally the last book I pulled off the shelf. There's books behind, but the last book on the front, which is like my unread books, are at the front, but I put this at the front because it's been probably about 20 years since I read it, so it might as well be unread. But I wanted to reread this, which is Lawless and Tilly, The Secrets of the Dead. I don't usually read books that are following police officers, but this is a book that 20 years on has stuck in my brain, so I really want to reread it and see how it holds up compared to what I remember of it. Okay, and the final question / statement is: fall is the perfect time for cozy reading nights. Favourite cozy reading accessories? I mean, I don't really have much in the way of reading accessories. I guess this would have been the point where I should have agreed to a brand that reached out to me for a reading light. Maybe I still will. Who knows? But generally, it's just like being cozy. So I do sometimes, like, I'll wear my hat, I'll wear my gloves. This hooded blanket with the dinosaurs on, like, I love this for this time of year. I also have, it's not an hoodie, but it's like same kind of idea. I have an hoodie that's a similar colour to this, and I've sewn on the Marash crest from the Shades of Magic series. I got a patch from Lit Escalate, so I've sewn on the Marash crest, and I've also sewn on like one of these little dinosaurs onto it, so I've like made it mine. And those are probably like the things that most classify as cozy reading accessories that I utilise, but yeah, generally that's me. So if you want to take part in this tag and feel like you can't because you haven't been tagged, I mean, just do what I do and just take part anyway. But if you feel like you need to be tagged, consider this my tag for you. And yeah, I've had a really good time doing this tag. So until next time, love you. You can't really see the heart very well because of the gloves, but love you. Bye.